Kia ora koutou. Well, there's so many inspiring communities, and we're inspired by waste. So, zero waste by 2040 is the aspirational goal in the Auckland plan to make Auckland the world's most livable city. So, as has been said, Council has a new waste plan. It's really inspiring. The focus is on waste to resources. So there's a real emphasis on recycling, reuse, resource recovery, but also on dispose as pay. So we're all responsible for paying our waste that goes to the landfill. So the problem and the challenge is that Auckland generates at the moment the equivalent of 1 rugby field of waste per week. And approximately 65% of this waste can be recovered. It's either food waste or recyclable waste or other kind of waste. So this is a real opportunity for innovation. So my role has been to engage with communities, particularly those in the south, to prepare for user pays, but also to explore the opportunities for waste reduction. So the approach that we've taken is an inquiry-based approach to find out what's already happening in communities that could be built on, and what will excite and motivate people to get on board with waste, and how can we catalyse and support a community-owned and driven movement to waste reduction. So today we're just focusing on one of the communities, Otara, where there's a huge amount of energy and passion that's been unleashed, and no shortage of great ideas and things that people are already doing. We found church leaders who want all of their congregation to be growing their own vegetables and composting food waste. There's a group that are already making planter boxes and furniture from pallets, and their vision is to set up a social enterprise community recycling centre and employ young people. There's lots of creativity and there's lots of art and competitions and fun, and that's the way people want to work, in ways that are creative. And we've heard a lot about that fun is something that really activates and inspires people. People really wanted to know about what did happen to the waste, and so we've organised trips to the landfill, and that's also shocked people but ignited their passion. So I think one of the real assets for Otara is its people, and I'm going to pass to Maddi, who's going to talk about how street leaders and neighbourhood support groups are coming on board to design and develop the initiatives that will get their streets engaged with making a difference.
Thank you, Jenny. Talofa, kia ora, and warm Pacific greetings from the deep south. Otara. It is the smallest locality in the county's Manukau district, approximately 38,000 in population, and predominantly Pacific and Māori ethnicities make up this population. Yes, I'm sure we're all aware, many of us are aware, the stats show that we tick the boxes in terms of high unemployment, low educational achievements, overcrowding in homes, and high number of single-parent families. But on the flip side of that, we are a community that is extremely rich in people and its culture. Otara Health have a neighbourhood support team, which I'm part of, and we work in partnership with the 3 neighbourhood policing teams that cover the Otara area. So together we establish, maintain and support neighbourhood support groups, which we've got a beautiful stand here from one of our neighbourhood support groups from Auckland City. And together, to build and create a strong, safe and empowered community. To date, we have 125 neighbourhood support groups helping and supporting each other, from being good neighbours, looking out for each other's children and elderly, assisting with shopping, driving each other to appointments, generally building connections and relationships through their streets. And this is usually done over barbecues, projects, events, and in the infamous words of Jim Dyer's, street parties. We saw an opportunity through the waste minimisation plan presented by Jenny and others to connect with residents around things that they really cared about: food, gardening, health and wellbeing, and so we thought we'd give it a go. We started off with one keen neighbourhood support group over the weekend of Neighbours Day Aotearoa. A neighbourhood support dinner was organised by the street leader to be a zero waste event, and everyone really got into it. Through the 125 neighbourhood support groups, the opportunity arose to directly hear and gather information from our street leaders themselves, because this is, I guess, a huge gem of ours. The treasures are our leaders, as previously mentioned throughout the day. So what we did was we set up one street leaders forum in each neighbourhood policing team area across Otara, and over 70 street leaders in total attended. 3 key things were on the agenda. Firstly was the opportunity for the street leaders to meet other street leaders from within their same neighbourhood policing area. Secondly, it was an information gathering exercise for the purpose of the Otara Health Neighbourhood Support Team to support our street leaders within their role. And last but not least was a focus on waste minimisation and the changes coming. We found out in each forum that actually no one knew about the plan, let alone understood it. So, but by the end of each forum, everyone was really keen to ensure that their street was as much prepared for when the changes came about. So some of the ideas that were bubbling were about connecting with community gardens, growing our own food, healthy eating, and particularly learning more around composting. Methods such as the Bokashi system was introduced, and some mums were really, really interested in finding out more about cloth nappies once the fact was brought to light in the meetings that 19% of Otara's rubbish is made up of disposable nappies. Yes, we're a very nurturing community. So where to from here? We have 12 streets keen to do further training around different composting methods, creating gardens, empowering people with the knowledge of gardening, and basically finding and developing our own local experts. So hopefully with this, we'll be able to create a movement as opposed to providing a service.
Okay, what we know and what we've seen today over and over again is that community-led, community-owned, and community-driven initiatives work. What we've seen from the approach taken to waste management by Jenny and her team is that people are listening and they're opening their minds to learning. They're doing this because the solutions aren't being imposed on them. They're learning that we can not continue to produce waste at the rate that we're producing it. And they feel that they owe it to their children and their future generations to deal with the issue now, and they're owning the problem and they're looking for solutions. What we have been seeing is the richness of people wanting to work together and wanting to find ways that are meaningful for them that will enable them to reduce their waste. And we started this journey where people were at. We took it to their homes, in their streets, and in their neighborhoods. And we kept it simple. We outlined and discussed and showed them through the trips to the landfills and the transfer stations the problem. And then they came up with the solutions that would work for them. Otara Health's purpose is to build a child-centered community. And we do this by providing wraparound support for families. And because families live in neighborhoods, we provide support for neighborhoods and communities to be connected, informed, and empowered. The 125 neighborhood support groups that we have in Otara and that are continuing to grow under the leadership of Maddi demonstrate the strong commitment of the local residents to be involved and to make their community and Otara a wonderful place to live. Our role with the Otara communities and neighborhoods is to support the residents working at the street level, helping them with street meetings, forums, information sharing, leadership development, and capacity building. It's about holding hands with the community and walking alongside them. They're in the driver's seats, and we work at a pace that works best for them. And what we are seeing is that this work is really touching people. You know, people really care. People everywhere really want the best for their children. They don't want their children or their grandchildren impacted by the waste problem that they caused. And they're talking about the problem, and they're choosing to be proactive. Otara, it's a place of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and this is just one of them. Thank you.